have my wonderful holiday background, but I come to you from the clinic at Hui Malama Ola Na'oiwi, the Native Hawaiian healthcare system for the Big Island. And as mentioned by Joy, I do also have a private practice, Mauliola Nutrition Consultants. So I still carry both, although I am predominantly employed with Hui Malama at the moment. And yes, we're going to talk about nutrition and MAMAKI. And I'll share a little bit about, oopsie, did I press the wrong one? I must have. Okay, a little bit about my background and some people who inspire me here in Hawaii. I got my master's in public health nutrition at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So I came here via Arizona and originally via Virginia. But arriving in Hawaii, I received my education and fell in love with the culture and the Aina, and I have remained here. So during my education, I was in the university when Dr. Claire Hughes was there, and she was the chief of the nutrition branch at the time. And I think by the time I graduated, there was no longer a nutrition branch. It had gotten absorbed into chronic disease, and she was retiring at the time. While I was there, I also got to work with Sharon Iolani Odom, who is at KKV, and she is a strong Ipono educator, and I still follow her all the time. I also work at the university with Marie Kainoa. If you know her, she does great work and is a real advocate for Native Hawaiians and getting more into the field of nutrition. If you know a lot of nutritionists and dietitians, I always feel like we need more Native Hawaiian practitioners. So send them my way if they need to talk to anybody, or if they have that interest in the field. Nutrition is so diverse, you can do so much with it, but we definitely need more champions out there. And then Dr. Hughes was also writing in Kawaiola, a magazine from OHA, and now it is Dr. Jody Leslie. And Dr. Jody Leslie is in Kona with Kukui Lifestyle Medicine. So she talks a lot about plant nutrition and medicine. So it's great to continue to learn from her. And through Hui Malama, in loving memory, I've been able to work with Auntie Edna, and many of you probably have throughout the community. And just what a champion she is for just helping anyone and everyone, everywhere, all the time. So it's been just such an honor to be able to have had time with her. And then I'm making mention of up and coming Caitlin Kubo. She is getting her master's at UNLV, and she passed her registered dietitian nutrition exam in October, and will be returning to the islands early summer. So we look forward to her being in our community and sharing about nutrition. So I just wanted to shout out to her. And so I have a disclaimer in that we're going to be talking about MAMAKI and my experience and knowledge with MAMAKI. And I do not claim to be a Native Hawaiian practitioner or healer. So my knowledge comes from my Kane, Desmond Anton Haumea, who grew up here in the islands. He is Hawaiian Visayan, and we've been married since 1999. And he has been the one who helps educate me traditionally and culturally in the Native Hawaiian. And we have 2 children who are in Hawaiian immersion schools. So trying to practice the culture and continue to learn and share what we're learning is what I enjoy doing. So I'm kind of sharing my experience that I have with MAMAKI. More of my true love is with Noni, if anybody loves Noni, and Kukui. If anybody loves kukui, I've been using those definitely for the past 20 plus years. And my husband was a voyager with Hokulea. So a lot of his influence came from that renaissance that happened really during the 60s and 70s and kind of reawakening those cultural practices. And most of us are honored to just be going through more and more of that and seeing the Aloha Aina and Malama Aina become more of a focus in all of our programs and really what our community is connecting with. So I appreciate being able to get all of us growing and sharing these products in our home and with our families. Aipono has been researched as the Waianae diet in 1991, and it focused on that plant medicine, taro, poi, sweet potato, yams, breadfruit, greens, very small amounts of fish. So this is where a lot of our knowledge comes from. And even though the research for the Western side came in the 1990s, we know that ancestrally, this is the practice that Hawaiians had for what they were eating. And so out of this comes more of our plant medicine and that concept, you know, the Western concept that food is medicine, the ancestral concept that plants are that preferred medicine. And that Western research was done with Terry Shintani and Claire Hughes, and they both continue to focus on plant medicine and Native Hawaiian foods. So we get to our Māmaki. Does everyone here have a Māmaki plant?
No, but I would love to have one. Or
awesome.
I've tried Māmaki though.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So this is what the tea plant looks with. Depending on where you are, you know, elevation wise, your plant has some different characteristics. But most of the plant has a green leaf and a red vein that's going through it. So that red traditionally, as I've been taught, kind of symbolizes blood. So we associate this plant with cleansing our blood in general. And what's in Māmaki? So nutritionally, potassium, magnesium, zinc, boron, copper, iron, manganese, calcium, a lot of minerals that we need, right? So when we're drinking tea, we're not necessarily thinking about all these minerals that we're getting from the tea. And this is the wonderful thing about plants. When we're eating these plant foods, we're getting so much nutrition and minerals that we just don't even realize. These chemicals include phytochemicals and flavonoids. They contribute to the color and the odor, the antioxidant power of the plant, which is all medicinal and, you know, nutritionally healing and beneficial. There has been research on Māmaki, and I really support research of our native plants and foods and practices because I believe this helps us get into, and this is my personal bias, I know there's a lot of sides there, but it helps us get some of that benefit from the Western health insurance world of this is how we pay for our health care. And so I support, you know, locally, if we could get our health insurances and businesses to support this. And unfortunately, it's a very Western world health insurance, and that means it takes research. So I understand it can be a touchy subject because that just kind of opens up Hawaii and Hawaiians to cultural issues that we don't want taken away in a Western sense, right? But that research has shown that there's lower mortality rates. The plant is antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal. It's been linked to regulating blood sugar and blood pressure and lowering cholesterol and inhibiting tumor cell growth. So I think traditionally when you attend La'au presentations, I've heard them link Māmaki a lot with cancer. So this is some of that evidence. It's also a natural stimulant and doesn't have caffeine. These chemicals help to stimulate brain activity and boost your metabolism through antioxidant properties. And it can be considered a natural sunscreen, helping with your skin health. So lots of benefits. Did you guys know of all these benefits?
I did not, but that's great to know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome. And then Māmaki, back ancestrally, from what I've been told and learned, is that Māmaki as well as Ko'oko'olau were like all over the place. There was just bushes and bushes, and it was something that was harvested regularly and stored for daily use and even to be consumed as food. Nowadays, you know, just by you guys sharing, many of us don't have a plant. It's not something we naturally see in our aina when we're inland. The most popular place I've seen it is actually been in the Volcano National Forest, right? And you have to get permission to go in there and to be able to harvest culturally. But nowadays we can learn how to grow this on our own. And I'll share a little bit about the resource that Hui Malama has. Again, most of us know this as a healing tea in that form, but there's definitely other ways that we can use this tea. So what I try to do is encourage people to use the tea in place of water in recipes. So, you know, that anti-inflammatory, antioxidant benefit to helping relieve some of the stress. We have a lot of stress in our life now. Some physical stress, we're not sleeping well, we're not as active. Some emotional stress. We've been going through COVID for 2+ years at the moment, and it's really affected us in so many ways that trying to find that balance, if we can include more of this Māmaki and antioxidant, then it's trying to help restore some of that balance when we can't do it, when we don't have control over all these situations. So if we can use that tea in place of water in recipes, that can be a big help. Or when it calls for water or chicken stock in recipes and sauces, we can use tea in place. And a lot of time the tea flavor can be mild, so it's not overpowering and taking over the recipe, but you really wouldn't even know it's there. And then again, back in the days, people actually ate the leaves. I've talked to Kupuna recently, and I don't know anyone that's actually been eating the plant, you know, in that physical form. Most of us, again, are taking it in tea and drinking it, you know, as tea. But the leaves are edible and can be used in salads and soups and stir fry, and they can replace other leafy greens that you might be using. And it can be eaten raw or it can be eaten cooked. And you could even, you know, break the tea down. We can dry it and turn it into a powder form. And that powder can then be added to muffins and cookies and breads, or even used in like making butter or spreads. So there's some really creative ways. And if you go on YouTube, like of course I did a YouTube search, there's like tons of the Asian culture that have these plants and use them in recipes, just like we mentioned, soups and stir fries. It's just something that we don't particularly have in abundance here, so we're not in the habit of learning to use it. All right. How'd I do? I've got like a minute to spare. These are the references for some of that research. Māmaki does have a lot of references in all of Native Hawaiian plants and land information. Here at Hui Malama Olana'u Iwi, they do have a class on Mala 1-on-1, where you actually get like a garden kit. They come out to your house and help you build it and put soil in it. And they give you like 4 or 6 plants to start with. Māmaki has been one of those in the past that they have given as a plant. And then if you're interested in more of the traditional Hawaiian healing aspect of the La'au Lapa'au, there is a class, there's a level 1 and a level 2 class taught by Po'okele Ikaika Dombriguez. And then in our nutrition classes and support groups, once COVID hit, We tried to make food sustainability a huge topic or a component of our classes. And so we try to give out those plant beginnings in our groups as well. So we've given noni and lemongrass and mamaki. Last month it was basil and Chinese peas. So we're really trying to include more of that. And we also have the second Friday of the month from like lunchtime, 12 to 1, we do a papakuke oli oli, which is having fun cooking, where we're really trying to kind of highlight some of those products and where to get them and how to use them in cooking, and just trying to have fun with bringing more of that back in. But if you're interested in signing up for any of the Hui Malama classes, you can go to hmono.org, /services, and put in your name and information, and someone will give you a call and help you get signed up for those classes. And this was Hui Malama is funded by the Native Hawaiian Healthcare Improvement Act. So it's really the organization that should be benefiting our Native Hawaiian community here. If it's not, I think we should all be letting the organization know what we want to see more of. And the mission is to take care of the health of the people of Hawaii Island, your physical, spiritual, and mental body, and culture and practices. So I really connect with that, and am blessed that there has been this federal act to help support it, and just us as community trying to get those services that are important to us. And it can be different in different districts. Thank you. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.